the program, you can't help but being impressed with the actions of the OSS and the honorees, past and present, recognized at this dinner.
Each of you exemplify the same creative, diabolical, disruptive work that Donovan demanded from the OSS. Each of you exemplify, not just through your service, but through your life, the deep commitment to the relationship between the CIA and DoD.
In an article written by Malcolm Cowley, Hemingway wasn't happy about it. He said, he had me in World War II as a martini addict with a canteen of gin on one hip and a canteen of vermouth on the other, mixed 50-50, I presume. Can you imagine me wasting an entire canteen on vermouth?
In a louder and more chaotic world, CIA officers remain quietly focused on keeping America and Americans safe. That is happening right now at Langley, in Tel Aviv, in Kyiv, in Taipei, in Beijing, and all around the world. Crucial missions are being accomplished, adversaries' plans are being disrupted, American national security is being advanced. The world may never know and may never hear of the exploits of CIA officers, but that only makes it that much more heroic.
Thanks to the 13,000 men and women who served in the OSS, their efforts shortened the war, saved lives, and demonstrated the indispensable role of intelligence as an instrument of American power. Years later, in reflecting on the OSS legacy, General Donovan put it best. He said, "The experience of OSS showed above all how essential it is for winning the war and keeping the peace to base national policy upon accurate and complete intelligence."
America, never become weary, because your greatest achievements are yet to be witnessed.
So tonight, to the men and women of the U.S. Special Operations Command, the quiet professionals who make the impossible seem easy. For 37 years, and 37 years our birthday this year, but really for 37 years they continue to carry the same spirit of innovation, resilience, and quiet professionalism inherited from the OSS. From Naughton's Rangers of the Revolutionary War to MACV-SOG in Vietnam to all the operations underway right now tonight, as Raising Cane talked about. SOCOM has moved in the shadows, but their courage shines brighter than any spotlight could.
The principles that we're all committed to of democracy, individual liberty, the rule of law are ones that OSS was founded to defend, even if OSS methods might have been a little more unorthodox than NATO's. I have seen for myself in Afghanistan and the Balkans what a fantastic organization NATO is. It has kept 1 billion of our citizens safe for 75 years.
Prime Minister Winston Churchill said, "You have enemies? Good. That means you've stood up for something sometime in your life." And General Donovan replied, he had greater enemies in Washington than Hitler had in Europe. Be like Donovan. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to offer a toast to General Donovan, and I think you all know how to respond now. May we all strive to be like Donovan. Be like Donovan.
From the battlefields of the past through the recent wars of the post-9/11 period to the conflicts of today, the legacy of honor and valor of our armed forces is etched into the fabric of our great nation. To America's armed forces.
I could not raise a toast to D-Day without also honoring our 177 heroes from the Kiefer Commando, the equivalent of today's Navy SEALs, who landed on Sword Beach with their British brothers in arms. The French novelist Joseph Kessel, who published Army of Shadows in 1943, shortly before becoming a Sussex agent himself, wrote, and I quote, "Nothing forced them to join the fight, nothing but their free souls." Let's raise our glass to D-Days and to the veterans.
And I think this year more than anything, we're reminded of how we are stronger together when we face common threats.
Many of you will be familiar with the story of Operation Red Wings, a 2005 mission to fix and finish Ahmed Shah, head of a terrorist group aligned with the Taliban in Afghanistan. The mission started with a reconnaissance team of 4 Navy SEALs tasked with locating Shah. The SEALs were compromised within hours of insertion, requiring a quick reaction force for immediate extraction. It's a heartbreaking, complex, and even controversial story, punctuated with episodes of courage, commitment, and brotherhood. But in the end, 3 men from the reconnaissance team and 16 men on one of the extraction helicopters perished that day. A total of 11 Navy SEALs and 8 soldiers from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. Only 1 man on the reconnaissance mission survived, Petty Officer Marcus Luttrell.
Tonight's a very special event for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that it marks the 20th anniversary of the first time the OSS Society presented the William J. Donovan Award in Washington to the legendary diplomat and OSS veteran Dr. Ralph Bunche posthumously. In the intervening 20 years, the OSS Society has endeavored to fulfill its mission of preserving the OSS's legacy and educating the American public about the importance of strategic intelligence and special operations to the preservation of freedom. And I'm fond of saying that OSS hasn't been this busy since 1945.
The Victor Hugo Award is given to a senior Special Forces officer who has rendered exceptionally distinguished service to our nation. It is now my great honor to present the Victor Hugo Award to Colonel Paris Davis.
The next thing I knew, I had been shot, but I didn't know how many times. And the next thing that I can remember about America was a year and a half later, after being in the hospital, I was okay. And I just want to thank you for helping me be okay, for being Americans, and God bless all of you.
Like Virginia, Janet Braun had a remarkable impact on CIA and the safety and security of our country. Now, it's always hard to describe a CIA officer's career in an open setting, but it's especially difficult in Janet's case, because much of her work was extremely sensitive and highly classified. In fact, I may not even be cleared for all of it. But you don't need to know all the details to understand this simple truth. Janet revolutionized the way the United States waged war against terrorism. She was the architect, visionary, and leader of one of our most effective global programs. Her program was an essential element of some of the most complex, most challenging, and most consequential missions that CIA has undertaken in the past few decades.
Frankly, to bestow an award in her name to someone like myself feels, at least from my humble perspective, is a bit of a stretch. I found a few distinctions and also some commonalities with Virginia. First and foremost, I never would have made it over that mountain pass, even with 2 good legs. In fact, I'm not sure I'm going to make it down those steps. Moreover, I fear I would have buckled under the unrelenting pressure of operating solo behind enemy lines. I am very much dedicated to mission, but I'm not sure I would have filed down my teeth to change my appearance.
It's my great privilege to honor Lieutenant General Pat Hughes. I know I can never fill his shoes, and I'm not sure anyone can. Pat was a man of great character and integrity. He told you exactly what he thought, whether you were a private, or a colonel, or a cabinet official. Duty, honor, country, wrapped in impeccable integrity.